All right. Good afternoon, everybody. This is the Fantasy Sports Boss. It is Tuesday, September 26th, 2023. Waiver Wire Tuesday. Going to go over all the guys that you should prioritize for the waiver wire and the fab money allocations for Fantasy Football Week 4, which is unbelievably already just a few days away. Thursday night, the Detroit Lions and the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Jones and David Montgomery both expected to return to their respective lineups as starting running backs for their teams, and certainly both of them would go right back to their running back 2. Aaron Jones, borderline running back 1 status, for week 4. And myself, I need him in both leagues. I have Montgomery in one league and Jones in the other. If you're new to the channel, like I always say at the beginning, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification button, so you're made aware when new streams are added. So this morning I tried something different. I figured I would try to stream while I was driving into work, and it didn't go exactly according to plan. Of course, my 11-year-old kept incessantly calling me because some cop pulled over a guy in front of my house for blowing a stop sign, and she got nervous. So I had to hung up, and then, I had connection problems when I tried to talk about the Rams-Bengals game. So, I'll try to, that's the issue I'm going to run into is during the commute, the connection going in and out, and I think it dropped at one point as well. So, I'll still try to just keep it to a podcast form when I'm not at home. But maybe in the future, if I know I'm in a good cell zone, I'll be able to stream live like that again through my phone. But as far as I'm concerned, my fantasy teams, I took my first loss of the season in both of my leagues yesterday. Well, I should say not in both. I'm 3-0 in one league, 2-1 in the other, and I lost by a little bit more than 3 points in my work league because I had Mike Evans and AJ Brown. Both guys dropped touchdown passes. It was so frustrating. And, Mike Evans early in the game, he should have had that one. He kind of waited for the ball to come to him, at the right pylon there instead of going to get it. AJ Brown also had a drop. And listen, it was obvious watching this game that the Eagles were prioritizing getting Brown the ball because they know that he went all diva-ish after week 2, as did Jamar Chase. And look what happened. Jamar Chase went for over 140 yards. I believe it was 12 catches. And then AJ Brown had a big game himself. So, like I said this morning, it was a get right Monday night for both of these guys. And, hopefully going forward, they'll show a little bit more consistency. I certainly have that faith in Jamar Chase, a little more so than AJ Brown, who tends to fluctuate with his numbers from game to game. But yeah, bummer. I'm 2-1. I really should have won that game. And ultimately too, losing Aaron Jones for the week when I had to put in, the only guy I had was Josh Kelly, and I put him in and he had, two fantasy points. I had Tank Dell on the bench. I played Michael Thomas at the flex. I wanted to see if Dell was, certainly going to be able to build off of week 2, and he did that, and how, as he's now the number 1 waiver target, in my opinion, this week. I already have him on both of my leagues, but I think if he's available anywhere, he has to be the top guy off the waiver wire this week. Devin Ashane, I have number 2, and we're going to get to all of that. And I have Ashane too because, again, I think that, Salvin Ahmed was out. They're not going to score, obviously, 70 points a game probably ever again. Jeff Wilson's going to be coming back at some point. You still have Raheem Mostert there. Jalen Waddle wasn't around for the Denver game. So I think it's going to be a little more difficult for Shane to go anywhere near those numbers, even half of those numbers going forward. So, I wouldn't go to the moon with the fab money, at least when it comes to Shane. Tank Dell, Wilson for AJ Brown. Is it realistic? It's not realistic if you're trying to get AJ Brown. Tank Dell doesn't have enough credibility built up, and everybody knows what's going on with Garrett Wilson. And as far as Garrett Wilson and the Jets, they signed Trevor Siemian today. So Trevor Siemian, longtime journeyman quarterback. Got to start with the Denver Broncos, has really made his way around the league. I think this is his second time with the Jets too, if I'm not mistaken. He's been all over the place, right? Trevor Siemian. But again, even Trevor Siemian off the street is better than Zach Wilson. And here's the funniest part about all this. Joe Namath, the iconic Joe Namath, right? The most heralded player in Jets history, got on yesterday on the radio and said he was disgusted with Zach Wilson's play. And he even went so far as to say that Robert Saleh should be fired. This is Joe Namath saying this. So when you have your most iconic player coming out, ripping the quarterback. And Namath's been, he's been supportive of Zach Wilson in the past, but he just absolutely went to town on him, and I don't blame him. It's that bad. And again, I'm not trying to pick on the kid. I actually am starting to feel bad for him. I think Woody Johnson, the GM there, Douglas, they got to just get this kid off the field. He's taken a lot of abuse. It's almost not right. And Trevor Siemian, they're going to get him up to speed. They took a pass on Joe Flacco. They're going to get Siemian up to speed. I think eventually he's going to wind up starting. I mean, you can't do any worse. I mean, he's done okay things in the past when he's gotten a chance to play. There's maybe a glimmer of hope for Garrett Wilson, although I'm not really holding my breath there either. Traded Madison for Hall. I can have him on my bench until he starts to pop off. Yeah, Tim, I think it'll be okay. Madison, he had a fumble, another fumble. It was a good game for Madison, but I'm not going crazy with him yet. I've been very disappointed in him to this point. How much fab for Palmer? I need a wide receiver badly. Very aggressive, John. If you want to go as much as you feel comfortable using, I would do it, because again, this is a major passing attack. We've seen the numbers that have come out of this offense, and now they have, Kellen Moore, who's opening things up even further, and Josh Palmer in a passing offense with Justin Herbert. I would be very aggressive with him. When does the leash come off on Breece Hall? Probably this week. I would imagine this week. That's their only chance. They don't have a chance against the Chiefs, and this is the nationally televised game. This is, again, Zach Wilson. It's going to be beyond ugly against Kansas City Chiefs. And if you're a Pat Mahomes owner, he's going to be sitting at the end of the third quarter. So, if you have a really good backup, like a Kirk Cousins, you might even want to put Cousins out there over Mahomes. It's not conventional, but how much throwing are the Chiefs going to do in the second half? All right, what about Dell and Pierce for A.J. Brown? Still not enough, especially off of that game. You're going to have to pay a lot more for that, for A.J. Brown. You got to strike when they come off, down games, right? Like T. Higgins, he's now somebody you could try to buy low on again when you could have bought low on him after week 1. Doesn't matter until Jets get a new QB. Yeah, it really doesn't matter. You're right. Adams is big for me, 42 points. Literally won me my week because of him. Yeah, listen, I was totally wrong about Davante Adams again, right? I was wrong about him last year. I was wrong about him this year. He's totally QB proof. And Jacoby Myers has been really freaking good too. This goes to show you, right? So Jimmy Garoppolo, we all make fun of Jimmy Garoppolo, right? He's as brittle as glass. He can't ever stay healthy. But he delivers a good ball. He's accurate, right? In short to intermediate range, he can move the ball. It's when things start to break down, when the shit really hits the fan with Jimmy Garoppolo, when the turnovers start racking up and whatnot. But if he's got time in the pocket, he could pick a defense apart. And he finds the open guy. He goes through, and here's the difference. So anybody wants to know the difference with like a Justin Fields and a Jimmy Garoppolo, right? Two guys who have been maligned maliciously in the NFL, a lot of it deservedly. Garoppolo understands route trees, deciphering defenses, putting the ball in windows before a receiver breaks. He's got that down pat. That's something Justin Fields does not have. So Jefferson and St. Brown are my wide receivers. Lockett, Flowers, and Dell to flex. That's really impressive. Dell's outscoring the other two. I don't see Flowers breaking a 50-point ceiling. Lockett still competes with Metcalf. Yeah, Charles, I would put Dell in there this week. Why not? Someone tried to give me Puka and Higbee for Adams. Oh my God. I mean, seriously. I mean, Puka Nakau has been a nice story, but came back to earth a little bit yesterday. And how about Kyren Williams? I got into quite a few arguments on the message boards and even on here about Kyren Williams. One guy even said he was unsubscribing because I was hating on Kyren Williams. Well, he didn't do anything yesterday. And he's just, he's not a breakaway back, doesn't have the speed. He's not going to be as good as people think he is. Where do you rank Sam Laporta? Kyle, he's already top 7 in my opinion. Like he's got to be, he's got to be considered top 7. He's the number 1 read now in the red zone over Amon-Ra St. Brown. Like and he literally right from week 1 has been a consistent contributor to this team. All right, we have a $4.99 super chat from Tyler Sperry. Thank you, Tyler. Start Waddle when healthy or Pittman. Start Love or Goff. Burrow still not 100%. All right, so Tyler, very simple with the quarterbacks as far as Goff. You start Goff only when he's home. You bench him on the road. That's been the conventional plan for him going back to his Rams days. He struggles on the road. So when he's home, you start Goff. When he's on the road, then you can go with Love. Now, when both are at home, then you just play the matchups. Like whoever is playing the weaker defense, that's who you go with. Now, as far as Waddle, when Waddle's healthy, you start him over Pittman. You want everybody in this Miami Dolphins offense, you have to be playing every week. I don't care who it is. Mostert, Waddle, Hill. Like a Shane is like, a flex. But those three guys especially, you have to Tua Tagovailoa, those four guys you especially have to play every week, Tyler. Thank you for that super chat. I really appreciate it. Get Waddle back out there. Kyron came down to earth. Yeah, not surprised. I've been saying that. Chase was big, Pittman another good week. And I should have bet on A.G. Brown first catch. I said that on the stream yesterday. It was so obvious that they were going to feed the ball, and he wound up getting the first two. Do I trade Swift for Garrett Wilson? I have Jacobs, Gibbs, and JT. Do better. I don't want anything to do with the Jets. Listen, Swift is a good sell high now. This is a great sell high because he's going to get hurt. It always happens, right? So I would trade Swift. Maybe try to trade him for T. Higgins. I know Burrow. You're worried about Burrow. I get it. So then maybe, Mike Evans. Mike Evans is a good get for DeAndre Swift. And listen, Mike Evans has scored in every game. Now, me and Mike Evans aren't talking because he dropped, the touchdown in the first half of the game, which wound up costing me my match. But Mike Evans has been really good, and we thought, myself included, I thought Chris Godwin would be the beneficiary of Baker Mayfield because Mayfield throwing it short and whatnot. But Mayfield's been pushing it down the field, and he's looking at Mike Evans almost every time around the red zone. Thinking of trading Pittman. I mean, you could. I don't think that's an automatic move now. That's another guy I was totally wrong about. So I wasn't buying in on Anthony Richardson as a rookie right out of the gate. Pittman this year is Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf last year, when we all avoided the Seahawk receivers, or at least most of us, because of Geno Smith. Well, I avoided Michael Pittman, who had the quietest 90-catch season in history last year, with Anthony Richardson. But listen, he's been really good. Gardner Minshew, man, I mean, how good would Gardner Minshew be with the Jets right now? But Gardner Minshew, he delivers a good ball as well. Like, he's probably the best backup quarterback in the NFL. Mike Evans, that catch was insane, no doubt about it. But then he drops the one in the end zone. I can't get over it. I'm sorry. Kyle Murphy, Kyle, every time you I keep thinking it says Kyler Murray. What do you make of the Indy backfield? Moss, or does Taylor swoop in? And listen, Taylor's going to be the guy, right? I mean, Moss is going to get his touches, but Jonathan Taylor will be the guy. They're going to have to showcase him if they do want to trade him. And B, listen, if the Colts, are 3-1 when Jonathan Taylor comes back, then they may not trade him, right? I mean, they have a chance now to make something of their season. Maybe they don't trade him. But Zach Moss has been really, really good. And I said avoid everybody in this Indy offense. I've been wrong about that. I got to trade just sent to me. I received Swift and Judy. I traded away Pacheco and St. Brown. No, don't do that. Pacheco's been good. He's been good. I would not do that. Amon-Ra St. Brown's been money in the bank since he was a rookie. Need your help bad. I'm 3-0. Well, it doesn't seem like you need my help. I need to make a move for a flex play that right out the rest of the season. Do I trade Pacheco and Kirk for Ramadre? How much fab do I spend on Tank Dell? Spend all of it on Tank Dell, or as much as you can. And, as far as that deal for Ramadre Stevenson, Pacheco and Kirk, if you're trading Pacheco and Kirk, I mean, I would do it. Ezekiel Elliott, though, this now looks like a 50-50 share. I still think I would do it because Pacheco, he could be inconsistent. Kirk, Zay Jones is coming back, and then he's going to, usurp some of those targets that he gave up the last few weeks while he was out. So, George, I think I would do that deal. Pick 2 to start this week. Madison, Sanders, Kyron Williams, Swift, or James Conner. You always start James Conner, guys. I mean, look what he did against Dallas. We were all afraid about Dallas. James Conner balls out every week. And I said yesterday on the show, he is the most underappreciated running back one in fantasy. Wow, Swift. I didn't really take a hard look at the schedule yet, guys. I would have to say Swift. I have not been impressed with Miles Sanders. He got lucky to get that touchdown Sunday. Madison hasn't been good. I know Cam Akers is going to play. So, all All right, Mike Evans got me $125. Yeah, Mike Evans, again, he just had that one drop. That really kind of hurt me big time there, losing my matchup. I'm healthier than Kyle Murray. Yeah, right. Hey, listen, I tweeted this out this morning, or X, whatever you call it now. I don't even know what the fuck you call it. But what I will say about the Arizona Cardinals and the San Francisco 49ers, when they realized they had shit on their hands in the form of Josh Rosen and Trey Lance, like they didn't really waste any time. They quickly moved on. They drafted Kyler Murray. They traded Trey Lance. They put in Brock Purdy, right? The Jets didn't do that. When the Jets realized that Zach Wilson was complete garbage, which he still is, they should have made a move right away. Like as soon as after his rookie season, right? Or maybe after the second year at least, because it's that bad. That's where the Jets went wrong. Dellin Pierce could get me what kind of wideout? Dellin Pierce, maybe T. Higgins. Could be Ridley off 2 down games. I would target Ridley, guys. Buy low on Ridley. Tight ends are Ertz and Taysom Hill. Should I fuss him back to the waivers? Look for Luke Musgrave. I would keep Ertz. He's leading tight ends in target percentage, guys. I don't know if you realize that. He's got the highest target percentage of all tight ends in football right now. I think it's over 24%. Taysom Hill you can get rid of. I mean, that's always a curiosity with Taysom Hill, but it's just too random with him. Kamara or Connor versus 49ers. Kamara is going to be rusty. I'm still going Connor every week. I'm sorry. I know it's a rough matchup. I'm 3-0 right now. I got to upgrade my QB. CJ Stroud. So first waiver wire quarterback position. CJ Stroud is a must add. He's a top 5 get for me this week. Also, listen, Mac Jones is playing pretty good. The volume has been there. Bill O'Brien has really opened up his game. The targeting the tight end. I think Mac Jones is back in the circle of trust in Superflex leagues and maybe is a backup in single quarterback leagues. Still got Dobbs, Drake London, and then tank down my bench if my waiver goes through. Yeah, I mean, that's fine. Drake London, though, sucks. Well, he doesn't suck. His offense. His team sucks. Is the Shane worth 70 fab? No, I don't think so. I really don't. It's going to get really crowded there. And you still have Mostert there. Jeff Wilson's coming back. Sullivan Ahmed's still around. Jalen Waddle wasn't there last week. That's why they had to run so much. Higgins was struggling, yes, but the offense in general is struggling. How much fab should I put on our Shane? I got 500 to the rest of the season, maybe 200. Brian Robinson, Mostert for Cup or too much? Madison, Brian Robinson, and Mostert. I mean, I don't really want Cooper Kupp, but I mean, that's fair. It seems like a little much, though, actually, if you ask me. Mostert's been so good. He's got a top 5 running back, and Kupp is still very, very shaky. Now, for, Keenan Allen, I would do it. Tell me your top 3 ads. So my top 3 ads are Josh Palmer, Tank Dell, and Devin and Shane. Those are the top 3. Who do I start? Ridley, Thielen, or Dell? Wow. Whew. Listen, Thielen's been balling the fuck out the last 2 weeks, right? And he's got Andy Dalton again. They have a good thing going. Dell's been great. Do you bench Ridley off of two duds in a row? I think they're going to give him the A.J. Brown treatment this week. I think they're going to feed Ridley. Believe it or not, my gut was Thielen. It was telling me to go Thielen. That's my gut. Should I drop Dak for Stroud? Yes, 100%. Drop 100 my 100 fab I have for Tank Dell. Yeah, I would drop all of it for Tank Dell, or at least maybe like 70 or 80. Listen, he went over 20 points 2 weeks in a row. I would sell high on Mostert. Yeah, that I agree. The next injury is around the corner. And I think you buy low. There you go. Offer Mostert for Calvin Ridley. All right, so Devin or Shane. Obviously, he's an ad, a priority ad this week. I still think we need to be a little bit careful because for all the reasons why I already said, this, they didn't have Jalen Waddle last week. Jeff Wilson's coming back. Salvin Ahmed was out injured. So there's still a lot of competition. Raheem Mostert's still there. Now, Mostert does get hurt, but, it's I wouldn't go overboard on a Shane. Dell and Pierce, what running back could I possibly trade for? Still have Flowers and Lockett. Dell and Pierce, Aaron Jones. I would do Aaron Jones. Or Kenneth Walker. Do I ride with Derrick Henry? Oh, God, try to trade him, please. You got to trade Derrick Henry. And that's another thing while we're on running backs, guys. Tajay Spears, go get him. You're probably not going to have to spend a lot to get him. Derrick Henry, I'm starting to think that he's going to get traded. There's no reason for the Titans not to. I know they brought in DeAndre Hopkins, but, it's that bad. If they're 1-5 at the trade deadline, Henry looks shot. They're going to have to take a look at Tyjae Spears, make the move, right? Reward their all-pro veteran. Give him a chance maybe to catch on with a team that needs a running back for the stretch run. George, it's hard for me to say 100 on him, but like 80, I think, for sure. Wide receivers out of 10. Tyreek Hill, St. Brown, Ridley, Jesus. 10. Every one of those guys is startable, King Jack. We completely out on Kelly. Yes, I'm cutting him. I haven't won league. I cut him. He screwed me so bad these last 2 weeks. Easy playoff schedule. Yes, the playoff schedule for the Eagles is great. No doubt about it. Roschon Johnson, if he's still available, I would pick him up. I still think eventually it's coming. Melvin Gordon and Justice Hill are guys off the waiver wire who have my attention. So Justice Hill may not come back this week. Obviously Edwards came down with the concussion. So, I think all of a sudden too, Melvin Gordon, he wasn't good, but Gus Edwards is going to be out. They really have nobody left. And it seems like every year this is what happens with the Ravens, right? They just they have massive injuries at running back, and then they're playing all of these retreat guys, right? I would definitely take a look though at Justice Hill, and then a minor look at what's his name? Melvin Gordon. Hey, Justin, how are you? Having a bit of a hard time deciding whether I should start Lawrence or Stroud. I guess I haven't really zoned in on the schedule yet. I think Trevor Lawrence is a buy low. I think he's going to be fine, but Stroud looks really good. Who are they playing, Justin, off the top? I don't have it off the top of my head. Do I start Laporta or Ertz? Laporta, 100%. Traded Garrett Wilson for A.J. Brown last week. Wow. I mean, that major win. Major win. I can't believe somebody actually did that trade. Rest of the season PPR, who do you like more, Wan'Dale Robinson or Mingo? I like Wan'Dale. They already used him they threw 4 passes to him and only 15 snaps that he got. Jerome Ford long-term, I have my doubts on him as a bell cow back. I think he's going to get about 60 to 70% of the touches, which is still good for maybe a high-end running back too. Lawrence Falcons. Stroud Pitt. That Pitt defense is good. I'm still going with Lawrence. I got to go Lawrence. That Pittsburgh defense is good. Would you trade Mostert for Devonta Smith? Yes, 100%. Because Mostert, you're selling high now on him. You know he's going to get hurt. Yes, I think Ridley Boom. So Romeo Doubs, guys. If Romeo Doubs is another ad, if he's available on your waiver wire, you have to pick him up. He's not a priority because I think Christian Watson coming back will dilute him a little bit. But there were reports all summer that Jordan Love had a really nice thing going with Romeo Doubs and not Christian Watson. And we've seen so far this year that Doubs has been a big beneficiary, especially around the red zone. So we talked about Josh Palmer. That's the easy choice, right behind Tank Dell and Devin Achane as the top waiver ads this week. CJ Stroud I have fourth. Quentin Johnston too. Quentin Johnston, if you can't get Josh Palmer, pick up Quentin Johnson because he's going to have to play the 60% of snaps for the wide receiver 3 in this offense that Josh Palmer was playing. Now Palmer's going to be 90% of the snaps with Mike Williams out for the season. He got a lot of work. And remember, the game he went down last year, Wan'Dale Robinson had 10 catches for almost 100 yards. I believe he scored too. Buy Najee Lowe. No. Najee Harris should not be on anybody's fantasy team. All right, so Josh Downs, guys, 84% snap share for the Colts, 27% target share. He was a check down for both Anthony Richardson and Gardner Minshew. Josh Downs is somebody in a PPR league who's somewhat intriguing to me. Okay, so he's somebody I would look at. Marvin Mims still available in a decent amount of leagues. Luke Musgrave, I gave you for tight end, and Zach Ertz as well. Both of those guys at tight end are ads that you should, at least take a look at so far this week. Would you trade for Kyron redraft? No. Oh, trade JT for Kyron? No, I don't think so. JT is in a much different class of running back than Kyron Williams. Should I trade Derrick Henry for Darren Waller and Stevenson? Yes. Yeah, 100%. Darren Waller is going to be fine. The targets are there, guys. He's just Daniel Jones just not getting enough time. And they played the 49ers and the Cowboys, 2 of the first 3 weeks of the season. Do not buy low on Najee. Absolutely not. Najee Harris, and he was a bust for me last. I put it out of him being a bust. I wanted nothing to do with him last year, nothing to do with him this year. He's just been so bad. When you have to pick between players who start at a position, how do you determine who to play? Well, a couple of things. So first thing I always look at is, who does my opponent have a quarterback, right? So if I have Romeo Dobbs, I'm debating to putting him in the flex with let's just say Josh Palmer for this week, right? My opponent has Jordan Love, and it's a PPR league, then I'm going to play Romeo Dobbs, because in most leagues, quarterback touchdowns are either 4 or 6 points, right? And then they get 1 for 25 for yards. Receiver gets 1 for the reception, 1 for 10 yards, and then the 6 for the touchdown. So when a quarterback throws to the receiver wins out big time, especially when it's a touchdown, right? So that's first thing I look for. Make sure that if my opponent has a quarterback, I try to match up my receivers to that quarterback. The other thing then is I obviously look at the schedule, right? I mean, if it's a matchup with a good defense, then I go with the player that has the easier matchup. All right. And listen, for example, this week the Kansas City Chiefs, like Rashee Rice, I don't think he got a decent amount of targets last week, but they're playing the Jets. I don't think they're going to be throwing a lot in the second half. So that's another factor that you have to look at when you're starting players. How do you make decisions between comparable players? In terms of running backs, how I make decisions at running back, if my running back is on the better team in his matchup, then I'm playing him over a guy where it might be a neutral matchup, or his team is the worst of the two. So the reason being is that, like, for instance, Isaiah Pacheco, right? He's going to run it a lot in the second half against the Jets because the Chiefs are so much better. So I'm going to play him over somebody like, let's say, Najee Harris. The Steelers, let's say the Steelers are playing the Cowboys. Like, Dallas will probably be killing them. So I'm not going to play Najee Harris because they're going to have to throw a lot in the second half to Steelers to catch up to Dallas, whereas Pacheco is going to be running it a lot. So that's how I make a determination there. Quarterback, again, if my opponent has a receiver that matches with my quarterback, I'm going to go with the other quarterback. Right? If he's got Stephon, that's a bad example because you're playing Josh Allen every week. But if he's got Romeo Dobbs and I have Jordan Love and I'm deciding between him and Jared Goff, and he doesn't have any, Amon-Ra St. Brown or Sam Laporta, I'm going to go with Jared Goff. All right, so that's how I do it. Yeah, Trevor Siemian. It's amazing to say that a guy who's been on the street this whole time is already just walking in the building a better option. Answer question. John, I do answer questions, whatever you want to ask. I usually try to answer all questions here. Sometimes if the chat moves fast, so I might miss some. Would you trade JT for? Oh, I answered that one. Would you trade Raheem and B-Rob for Garrett Wilson? Raheem or B-Rob and Garrett Wilson for Kupp and Breece Hall? I don't think so. I would flip Mostert and Waller for Debo. Yeah, I would do that. Debo would be good. Late bus had to replace Flat. Oh, man. Tough day for you, Grind Don't Stop. I hope it was okay. That's never fun, for sure. How's your Tuesday been? I'm good, Ray. Quick question for Flex. Zach Moss, Tank Dell, or Joshua Palmer? Wow, that's tough. That is tough. Hold on. Let me look at the schedule here. Let me pull that up because that would make things a little bit easier. All right, so Yahoo NFL scores, week 4. All right, so who did you ask me about? So Zach Moss, Tank Dell, or Josh Palmer. Let me go to week 4. Week 4. All right, so the Houston Texans are playing Pittsburgh, not easy. The Chargers are playing the Raiders. Wow, Palmer, right away, Palmer stands out. And who's the other one? Zach Moss. Indy is playing the Rams. That's Aaron Donald. I have to say Josh Palmer. Now, Jimmy Garoppolo's in concussion protocol. I'd like to see him play. I think it would be more competitive. But, that's who I would go with. All right. Okay, let's see. I don't like starting guys on Thursday night. I always do bad on Thursday night. I never seem to get any luck with the Thursday night games. But I don't have any proclivity of avoiding them. Let's just put it that way. Should we be buying Swift? I'd be selling Swift. Because he's not going to keep this up. He's going to get hurt. There's way too many carries. Start 2 running backs and 1 flex. Full PPR, Walker, Connor, Sanders, Lockett, McLaurin, Zay Flowers. I would go Lockett at the flex, and 2 running backs, Walker and James Conner. James Conner should be in there every week. Really, so should Walker. Although, Charbonnet, it got a lot of attention. Aaron Jones and Christian Watson were limited today. So, they were limited again. So they got to practice tomorrow, or else here we go again. Herbert and Johnson. If you're talking about Elijah Moore, I think that Elijah Moore, he's getting a lot of targets, but he's just not making anything with them. So I've been very disappointed in him. Herbert is a gem. Herbert is a great quarterback. So I'm good on him. Johnson, be more specific on which Johnson. I don't care about downside rest of the season. Would you prefer Wandale over Bateman? Yes. The Giants target him heavily when he's in the lineup. Mingo versus Bateman. I don't like either one of them, but I would slightly lean Mingo because I think Bateman's getting a little bit left behind. Say less about Josh Palmer. It is yes. No, Miles Sanders has a higher projection than Lockett and Connor, which makes no sense. Listen, if he hasn't been very efficient, and without that touchdown, he wouldn't have done anything. Oh, DJ Moore. I don't like any of the Chicago players. I just don't like it. You're welcome, ML. I don't like any of these Chicago players. I'm just out on this team in general. It's not good. We could do better. The Chicago offense just looks completely broken, in my opinion. So, safe to move on from Dylan Kincaid. Yeah, it's just not happening yet. Sam Laporte has been much more impressive. So is Musgrave. I think so. Can you give an example where you buy Cup, like make up a deal if you'd buy Cup? It would have to be a shaky guy for T. Higgins and Pacheco for Cup, right? Something like that. That's the only way I would do it. I really just don't want him because there's another injury coming. Are they going to shut him down if they're out of the playoff hunt? I don't know. I prefer, and he's 30, 31, whatever he is. There's just too many red flags. When will Brees break out? As soon as they put Trevor Siemian in. Moving away from Tony and Samaje Perine. Yeah, both guys should be on waivers. From these players, who should I target? Palmer number 1. Zeke, Dowdle, Downs. Downs is not bad. Dowdle, and Zeke. I think Zeke, by midseason is going to be calling for the oxygen. So I would say Palmer and Downs. Miles Sanders and Zay Flowers for Cooper Cup. I would, okay. Maybe I could get behind that one. Is that well tradable? Probably not. But he's been decent. Do you pay any attention to the points projections? Very little. Those things can be wildly off. Like the Yahoo projections, especially. Like they just seem like they just throw numbers out there just to throw them out there. Like it's sometimes not even close. Why don't you start Miles Sanders? I would start Miles Sanders as a flex for sure. He's catching the football this year. They're targeting him. But he just leaves you wanting more, if that makes sense. So I'm not a big Miles Sanders guy. I was coming into the summer, but I don't like the way he looks right now. And this offense is pretty bad. So anyway, all right, guys, I think I'm gonna pop out now for the stream there. As far as Mike Williams, yeah, it's devastating. He's done. He's probably not going to be with the Chargers next year. Better waiver pickup: Zeke, Rico, or Melvin Gordon. Zeke over all those guys. So I'm going to pop out now. Thank you guys for tuning in. So tomorrow's Wednesday. I'm not going to do a stream tomorrow, but there will be obviously a stream Thursday. And then again on Friday for Football Friday. So make sure you tune in for that. Make sure, you have a wonderful evening, and I will chat with all of you tomorrow. So have a great evening, guys. We'll talk soon.